Hello fellow cinephiles, Film Guru here. For those new to the channel, my name's Sean, also known as Film Guru, and I started this channel having my say on particular movies and film content, so thanks for joining me today. So today I'll be reviewing Paul Thomas Anderson's new film, Licorice Pizza. This stars Cooper Hoffman, Lana Haim, Bradley Cooper, and a variety of others. It follows the story of Gary, played by Cooper Hoffman, a young 15-year-old boy who's really driven, who really becomes an enterpriser in a way. He starts businesses, he wants to do acting, and he finds a way to make money in such a great way. And he's very charismatic and really captivating to watch. And it's about how he meets Alana, played by Lana Haim, this unique and interesting young woman that he's very taken by. She's much older than him and she's only at the school to take photos, but there's a connection that forms between the two. His charisma towards her, the conversations they have. There's something about their connection that really draws them to each other. And it really looks at the bond that forms between these two, the ups and downs they have, them trying to get something going between each other with it only falling apart, them going off in different directions but always coming back to each other. And it's really a coming of age story for Gary and the experiences that he has, but it's also a coming age story for Lana as well, because she is going through her own changes and trying to find her own way in the world. And it just is a very interesting film in that regard. This was a film I was interested in. I've been a big fan of Paul Thomas Anderson's for a while. I've enjoyed all of his movies in different ways. Punch Drunk Love is one of my favourite films of his. And I feel that he's sort of trying to get back to something like that. This film is once again set in the 70s. It is very similar to Boogie Nights, but it also feels a little bit like Richard Linklater and the type of movies he would make. It's a very interesting world and story. It's simple. All the performances are really great, especially from the smaller characters. Bradley Cooper steals the film in many ways, just with his little segment. He's probably only on screen for 10-15 minutes, but these are the most interesting and fascinating 10-15 minutes I've ever seen by an actor. And you can really see he's having fun here, and it's been a while since I've seen him in a fun movie where he can sort of improvise and do a lot of interesting things, and he does a really great job here. I think Cooper Hoffman's really great. There's a feel of his father there, Philip Seymour Hoffman. He feels charismatic like him, and he has a presence on screen, and he feels like someone who could have a big career. He just has that feel about him, that look. And I think his father would have been so proud of him in his performance here, because he really brings humanity to Gary that puts up a facade a lot of the times and a guard against people and stopping people getting in. But when he meets Alana, he can't help it. He just sort of lowers his guard in a lot of ways. And I like his portrayal here. He just feels very real and still very fascinating and entertaining. But by far the best performance here is by Alana Haim. First film she's ever done. I love the casting. When Paul Thomas Anderson does this, he picks someone who's unconventional and puts him in the movie, and they're always really, really great. And Alana is fantastic. The way she walks and talks and the way he captures her on screen is just mesmerizing. She's so natural and real and raw and gives such a great performance that you really connect with her. You like the journey she goes on and the experiences that she goes through and who she slowly becomes in the movie. They're both unconventional leads, and I love that. And they just both do fantastic jobs, and I was really captivated by their relationship and in the film, and that was the best part for me. I like the era, I like the way it's shot. There's a lot of movement with the camera. There's a lot of humor there that Paul Thomas Anderson puts in his movies. That is really great, and there is reminiscence. It does feel reminiscent of the other films he's done. But for me, it just didn't get there. It wasn't as good as I expected it to be, I guess. It was a solid film that was well made and put together and was very Anderson in many ways, but it was also a departure for him. It felt very different. With the casting, the story he wanted to tell, it just felt like his last few films have been quite big and powerful and dramatic and sort of cinematic in a way, where this is a much more simpler film. Stripped back bare, just a simple coming of age drama romance movie. And in that aspect, it was fine. It just didn't get there for me. It just wasn't as powerful as I wanted it to be. It didn't feel like him enough for me to really connect to it. And it felt much more like small segments or small short films cut together to make a feature. Because it just sort of jumped from one thing to another in a different way. The start of it was great, the introduction of these two characters, and then it sort of shifted as they sort of came into each other's lives and came out of each other's lives. It kept shifting and changing and becoming something different. I felt the start and the end really bookended the movie, and I felt that was really good. It felt like something that hadn't been completely thought out, maybe, or hadn't been really planned so much. I felt there's a lot of improvisation happening in the movie, and it was like he was kind of experimenting with that, with his actors in the situations they're in, and capturing what comes out of that. And I think that he's done a really great job in that regard. It just didn't get there for me, unfortunately. It isn't a bad movie. If you like his movies, you'll definitely enjoy it. It just didn't capture me the way I wanted to, I suppose. Final thoughts. In the end, it's really about how sometimes the things we want are right in front of us, but we can't see them, or we're too scared to accept them, or too scared to see them. I'm going to give Licorice Pizza 4 out of 5. It was a solid film, just wasn't as good as I expected, but I still enjoy my experience with it. And anyone who likes Paul Thomas Anderson will get a kick out of it, I think. Anyway, that's all from me today. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please subscribe down the bottom, follow me on Facebook and Letterboxd. Otherwise, until next time, enjoy the movies.